If you're running an agency right now and you're not using AI voice, you are leaving money on the table. And I know what you're thinking because I used to think the same thing. I used to think AI voice was absolutely trash. The latency was too high. It sounded like a robot reading a ransom note. And honestly, I wanted nothing to do with it. But then one of my clients showed me what it could actually do. And now when I say I'm not exaggerating, it completely changed my business model. And in this video, I actually did a talk for Cameron England's License to Scale, where I broke down everything I've learned over the last 6 months building a done-for-you AI voice agency for agencies. And I'm talking the legal stuff you need to know so you don't get sued, how to actually prompt your AI voice so it doesn't sound terrible, how to integrate it with your human team, and the exact use cases that are getting our clients appointments for about $20 a pop from old leads that were just sitting in their database collecting dust, right? And whether you already have a human team calling leads or you're thinking about adding AI voice as a service, this is going to save you a ton of mistakes. So hope you enjoy. So my name's Aaron Darjon. I'm going to be talking about voice AI and automation for agencies. So the first thing I want to really quickly point out, as everyone does, it's for entertainment, not education. The reason why is you'll see there's a lot of legality stuff that goes into this. I want to make sure that you guys don't try and sue me if things get screwed up. So anyway, who am I? My name's Aaron Darjon. I really quickly used to run a white label call center for agencies with like 70 plus callers, work with gym launches, some of the big guys, run like 350-day gyms. Did some stuff with Charlie Morgan, got a program called Call Center Mastery where I teach agency owners how to build out call centers. And we also work with this beautiful man you may recognize, which is really cool. Because that's one of the beta clients for CCM, he's been great. And so, who here has actually tried AI voice before? Anyone tried to figure it out? Give me some, you go first. Give me some of your experience of AI voice.
It's not good at doing basic objection handling, and sometimes when you talk over it, it's horrible.
Yeah, so are you trying to do it for the actual sales process itself, or more just for like?
More like setting for clients.
Setting for clients. And so, just anyone didn't hear, just the mic, you said that it struggles with objection handling, and if you try and talk over it, then it ends up kind of just screwing up and sounding terrible, right?
Yeah.
Cool, awesome. Who else had their hand up? Go on, give us a quick. Is it working for you? How's it going?
So I use it for B2C setting, and it was working mostly good for inbound, but outbound, but
So as in you were trying to cold call with it, is that what you're saying?
just calling Facebook leads that leave their information.
Oh, so you're saying when you had received an inbound phone call, it worked fine?
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened?
I feel like when it's inbound, the person who's calling already know what he wants,
Okay,
and he just like qualify him.
kind of context on that.
And I feel like when you're doing the outbound, is struggling to ask the right questions and qualify.
Yeah, makes sense. And there was one other person that had a hand up. We'll do one more. Go for it, man.
Show up rates are lower.
Yes, that's 100% true. Yeah, show up rates is definitely lower with AI voice. The reason for that, before I dive too deep, is that obviously the connection you make with the lead on that first call is so important to get the show up rate. So, for example, with Gym Launch, when we had like one of our Filipino setters not asking any questions about their pain or trying to actually understand the situation, the show rate was always terrible. But if we actually had someone that was really trying to engage with them, asking about how much weight they want to lose, what their goals are, they just feel more cared for, and they feel like, wow, this company's actually going to try and help me lose weight. And that obviously has a huge impact. So when it comes to the setters, if they're not doing a good enough job, then that's going to happen. So obviously with AI voice, you need to be able to make it actually care, which can be hard with AI voice, right? It sounds like you're using it a little bit, but you sound like you thought it was trash. And it does. I used to think it was trash as well. I actually used to absolutely hate AI voice. For me, it was super buggy. Latency was way too high. It just took way too long for someone to actually respond. Like when the lead said something, the AI just took like a second to respond. And that's where you get the talking over each other. It didn't sound good at all. It just sounded nothing like a human. It sounded like a robot reading a ransom note. It was just like, it wasn't good at all. And so then one day, I had a client in Call Center Mastery, and he was like, yo, I've got this AI voice. And the interesting thing is, obviously, I get pitched AI voice all the time. And so most of the time, I'm just like, yeah, AI voice, great. I'm sure it's awesome. And then, because he was a client, I was like, you know what? I actually will sit down. I'll spend 30 minutes with you. Let's go through it. And it was, yeah, the client jumped on with him. And from that day, he showed me the AI voice, and I was like, I still remember the call. I was like, oh shit, this is here now. Like, this is the thing that's actually going to be able to scale and do really, really well. And it actually made me change my entire business model. So I'm still running the info product Call Center Mastery. It's still going well, but I've now gone all in on AI voice. and I want to quickly show the recording.
Hey Ken, it's Gary from Anywhere Fitness. You reached out about our training program a while ago, and I thought I'd say, yeah, totally. It's been a bit. I just wanted to check in since we've got a few new spots open. What was it that sparked your interest back then?
I don't know, just really looking for Facebook feed.
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, our team does a great job with that. So, what's the main thing you'd like to improve? Like weight loss, toning up, or just getting...
Brother, I'm 57 years old, so at the time I was just looking at, just thinking about not really getting healthy, but just getting the strength of my core.
I'm going to put 1.5.
That makes total sense, Ken. So is this something you've been working on for a while, or is it more of a recent goal for you?
Something I've been thinking about for a while, and just don't get a motivation to bring the ball doing it.
Yeah, I hear you. Motivation would be the toughest part, honestly. Have you tried anything for your core or shoulders in the past, or is this something you're just starting to look into now?
It's just something I'm starting to look into now. You know what I mean?
I'm going to skip forward a little bit, just because it's a long call.
That's great, Ken. So for next Wednesday, as soon as I can do is 12 p.m. or 12:30 p.m.
So there's a bit in there where he's like talking about, oh yeah, I know you guys, you're from gyms, blah, blah, blah. Is that you guys? And the AI responds really, really well. Obviously, that's like a good recording. I'm not going to show you guys a shit recording, obviously. But that was from a database reactivation lead. So we followed up that lead, and yeah, it was just, it's been going really, really well. And we actually able to re-engage that lead and get him back in, and he showed, and it was really good. So that was the kind of voice where I was like, oh, obviously when it laughs, it goes, ha ha, that doesn't sound great. There's still definitely things we've got to improve. But I think just the latency, the way it speaks, like even like the filler words it uses, all that kind of stuff, works really, really well. And so, like I said, I decided to actually relaunch my original white label call center, but with AI voice. So now it's done for you, AI voice for agencies, essentially. And for the last 6 months, my team have been working on this to try and get it as good as we can. And today I want to talk you through some of the lessons that if you guys are thinking of building out your own AI voice, I want to kind of give you some of the pitfalls that we fell into and try and help you just speed that up, obviously, and get way better results. Because if you've got a human team, that's great, but this is a really good add-on. First of all, your clients are really impressed by it. And the second thing is that it can just help a lot of people struggle with trying to find new setters and how they deal with like out of hours, all that kind of stuff. This works really well for that. So the first thing is very boring, but please just bear with me. I need you to know it. It's the legality of using AI voice. So reminder, I'm not a lawyer. Please speak to a lawyer before you use AI voice. It's very, very important. You can get sued to fuck if you don't do this right. AI voice has been deemed to be a robocall. And there are very specific rules. This is mainly talking about the US. I'm assuming most of you guys target the US market, right? So this is most of the US. They deem it to be a robocall. For robocalls, the lead needs to agree to receive a robocall. So whether it's AI voice, whatever it is, they have to explicitly agree to that. And so this is a quick example. So I have this on my funnel before someone opts in. I won't read it out, obviously, but the main thing here is that it says that using an automated dialing system, pre-recorded voice, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But you need to make sure it's explicit consent, and this will save you, this will help you. So this covers all new leads, right? So every single time you get a new lead, whether it's your funnel, whether it's your client's funnels, you put that in there, and then you're safe. But what about when it comes to database reactivation? A lot of you guys, I know one person in particular in here who's working with us. Shout out to Sam. Some of you guys, they will just get an old lead list from their clients and be like, I can squeeze appointments from you straight away. Time to value is so important, right? Client pays you money. You need to make sure that you can get them appointments as soon as possible. If it takes you a week to get ATP approval, it takes you another week to launch the ads, they end up just wanting to quit, and it's a horrible, horrible experience. So if you can take their old leads, run them through AI voice, and get them 10 booked appointments that same day, immediately they're like, wow, this guy, this company, this agency, they are so locked in, this is so good. And it just reinforces that, because the first 24 hours after someone buys from you is the most important to make sure they don't charge back, refund, that kind of stuff. So how do we make it so the database that the client has is allowed to be called legally? So the first thing is obviously sending an SMS first, right? You can be like, hey, are you happy? It's a bit shit, but hey, are you happy to receive an automated call from us, blah, blah, blah. Most people will say no to that because they don't want to receive automated calls, obviously, right? So that's a bit of a hard one. The second one is having some sort of valuable video. Maybe there's like a YouTube video that talks about their pain point. Maybe there's something else that you can provide to them, something that's of value. Then before they can get access to that video, put a consent box. So you can send out a mass email to all the leads. Hey, I've got this really cool video, blah, blah, blah. And if they want to watch it, they have to re-consent, they have to re-opt in. And at that point, then they're safe. And the next thing is a lead magnet, similar thing, PDF, whatever kind of download it is, and then put a consent box attached before the download. Again, make sure they have to approve that they're happy to be phoned by AI voice. Unofficially, the real game is just not annoying the wrong person. So send an SMS first, being like, hey, do you mind if we contact you? Even if they don't re-opt in, at least you know the people that are saying yes, they're not going to go to a TCPA lawyer and try and sue you, right? Because they're happy to receive the call. So that's the main thing. The main thing is just try not to piss the wrong person off. All it takes, like I said, is one angry lead to go to a TCPA lawyer and start a whole class action lawsuit against you and your client, and that can be really messy. There's actually some really pathetic people out there that do this for a living. They have an army of phones, a farm of phones, and they wait for you to break the rules. They wait for you to make calls that are not compliant. And then when you do that, they actually bait you into doing it more and more and more, because they know that every time you make a non-compliant call to them, they're cashing in like $1,500, $500, whatever it is. And they'll just keep doing this over and over again until you stop calling. There's literally like a whole thing out there for this. Most companies, they actually get sued by private lawyers. It's not really the regulators that are going to come after you because they're government and they have no idea what they're doing. It's actually the independent lawyers, it's the independent leads that are going to go out there and start some sort of lawsuit against you. And the cost can be brutal, like I said. So $500 for every non-compliant call, regardless if they answer, doesn't matter if they just ring your phone, it's going to go through. And then $1,500 for every non-compliant call that was actually willful. So if you knew you were breaking the law or making a non-compliant call and you still do it, it's $1,500 for every time you dial. So obviously that can be pretty scary. So just, lock that in. So the next thing is actually the AI voice prompting, right? This is obviously a big thing. So you have two kinds of prompting when it comes to AI voice. The first is conversational prompting. The second is something I call one-shot prompting. So an example of conversational prompting is essentially when you speak to ChatGPT, right? So you send an initial prompt to ChatGPT, hey, I want help with this, and it gives you some kind of answer. You then send another message being like, yeah, that's good, but I want you to make it shorter, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. And then it gives you another answer. That's conversational prompting, and that's what most people are used to. Then you get something called one-shot prompting. One-shot prompting is you get one shot to get the perfect response, the best you can, and that's it. So obviously, what you can do is you can make adjustments after the fact. So if you listen to the prompt, you hear it sounds good, you can go back, redo the prompt again. But while in that one-shot prompt, you only get one chance in that specific moment. And all AI voice is just one-shot prompting. It's just one big prompt, you're feeding it, and you're just hoping that it has the correct outcome. And if you want to make iterations, you can, but you can't do it obviously while you're on the call with the person. And so the key for that AI voice is to absolutely nail that one-shot prompt in the best way you can. You can get about 80% of the way there. So with one-shot prompting, 80% of the way there, you can literally go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm doing AI voice. I want you to make me a prompt for this. Please do this. And it will give you something that's like 80% decent. But it's the 20% which makes an AI voice maybe interrupt people, doesn't respond properly, latency is super high, all the kind of issues you guys were mentioning earlier, compared to having an AI voice where you're like, oh shit, this sounds so good. And it's in that last 20% which is the most powerful. But the problem is that trying to get to that last 20% and try and improve it beyond that last 20%, it's exponential. It gets so much harder to get it to like 95 to 99. It's just really impossible. It's very, very hard to do. However, AI is probabilistic. So that means that even if you've got, let's say, a 95% perfect prompt, that means that 1 out of 20 times, it's still gonna screw up, right? 1 out of 20 is quite a lot. If you think you make 100 calls, right? That means 5 of them are gonna be kind of messy and not very good at all. So the closer you can get to obviously 100%, the better it is. But the thing is that there's no such thing as a perfect prompt. It just doesn't exist. You can't get a 100% perfect prompt. That's never going to fail. Even if you go to ChatGPT with ChatGPT 5 and you ask it a basic question, and if you just ran that a million times, it will fuck up at some point. It will just make mistakes. So it's all a probabilistic game. It's all probabilities. You just got to make sure that you have the highest chance of success with that one-shot prompt. But like I said, I want to give you the lessons of being able to get that prompt as close as you can in that one shot. So the way we break down our voice prompts in 3 sections. We have the role of the agent, which is personality. We then have the objective of the agent, which is what's it actually trying to achieve. Is it trying to book an appointment? Is it trying to do a live transfer? What's it trying to do? And the exact steps to follow to achieve that objective. I'll quickly give you some examples of these now. So this one, the assistant is a friendly, empathetic, and professional receptionist calling on behalf of blah, blah. The assistant follows up with leads who inquired about dental implants or were not reached within 24 hours. Their assistant's role is to transfer interested callers to a live treatment coordinator and not clinical discussions. Then the example objective is we want to try and live transfer them, discuss pricing, timeline, whatever, right? Put it all in there. And then we have the steps to follow. So this is a little bit kind of boring and mundane, but essentially we want to break it down into clear steps. So greeting introduction, gauge interest, transition to coordinator, transfer. If transfer fails, do this, do this. You want to break it down in the best way you can. If you just give it one prompt, like if this happens, then do this. Then if this happens, then do that. Then if it hasn't got clear steps to follow, and that's where it starts to fail. The reason why steps work so well is because it creates structure that stabilizes the model, and it just makes it's all chain of thought reasoning. I don't want to get too technical, but essentially it's chain of thought reasoning, which is how LLMs work. So the closer you can match the way that LLM thinks, the better it's going to be for the actual AI voice itself. The analogy here is like telling your CSN, hey, jump on a call and handle the client, right? That's obviously one way you can do it. But instead, imagine if you told your CSN, hey, I want you to build rapport, then identify the problem with them, empathize with their situation, and then offer a solution, and set clear expectations moving forward. That is going to get way better results. And it's nothing to do with the CSM being smarter. That's not what you're doing. You're not making the LLM smarter in any way. You're essentially just laying it out in a clear, easy to read guide so it can just perform better, essentially. Prevents them from missing critical pieces of information while actually handling the client, whatever that means. And this is exactly the same with AI bots. So using a checklist, you actually reduce ambiguity within the LLM. You limit the decision making. You lock down the actual conversation flow so it knows exactly what to expect, when to expect it, and that gives you the predictable pattern to follow. Because it has a predictable pattern to follow, it knows what to say next, it speeds up the latency. That's the problem with the latency, is if you throw random things in there which it's not expecting, that's when it can start to take longer because it has to actually think of what to say next. If you give it this clear step-by-step guide, it doesn't have to think as much, it reduces latency, and it reduces any chance of mistakes. The way we build out our AI voice is all through N8N. We've got a bunch of different things that connect in there. I've got a CTO who's like the genius behind this. Essentially, when a call request comes in, we break it into 3 different areas, which is the in-call, the pre-call, and the post-call. So the in-call is obviously the actual conversation that's taking place. It's the FAQs it needs to know, all that kind of stuff. Then we have the pre-call. So as that call comes through, we pre-check the client's availability in Go High Level, or whatever software you're using, Calendly, whatever it is. And so because we've done things pre-call, it speeds up the call itself, because we had this problem before where the person says, yeah, I want to book it for 10 a.m. and the agent would take maybe, 10 seconds to look at the API and check what's going on. And then by that point, the lead's kind of like, hey, you there? What's going on? So if you can pre-check the availability or any other kind of pre-call things you need to do, then it speeds up the call itself, speeds up the conversation. And the post-call is things like adding tags, all that kind of stuff. So one of the really cool things about Go High Level they've done recently is that you can actually, I don't think people are aware of this, you can actually put in inbound webhooks into Go High Level and create a request, basically you know how in Go High Level where you look at the conversation flow and you can see the native calls that are made inside Go High Level, it comes with a little recording of the conversations, that kind of stuff. You can actually put that in there manually. So what we do is we have you can kind of see it here actually. So we have an inbound webhook, so when the call's made, after the call's finished, this is the post-call action. We then log the external call with the actions. Anyone can do this, it's very simple. And you can put the external call in and it literally shows up as like a native call with the recording, all that kind of stuff. So your clients have no idea that you're using AI voice. Obviously, if they listen to the call, they might be able to figure it out. A lot of them can't. But that way then it looks like the call was made inside Go High Level, keeps it all in one really nice, easy to replace. It keeps it super smart. Then we have caller preferences. So a lot of the time what happens with people building AI voice is that if they have a conversation with someone and then that call fails or the guy hangs up and then he calls back, that AI is starting from scratch again. And obviously the person like, well, hold on, I just spoke to you, how do you not remember this, blah, blah, blah. So what we built out was a custom field called caller preferences. And what this does is, again, this is another post-call action in that 3-tier thing I showed you a second ago. With a post-call action,
when we put the caller preferences in, which is essentially a summary of what happened on that call. And every single time a new call is made, whether it's inbound or outbound, it will read that caller preferences and put that back into the prompt for us. So again, this is a pre-call action. It will put this in there. And that way then, when the lead's like, hey, do you remember what we just spoke about? They're like, yeah, and they have all the detail of what they need, which is really good. One important note about this is that when you're building out the caller preferences, don't tell the AI agent to override it. You want to tell it just to update it. If you override it, then it won't remember the previous calls. So when you tell it to update it in the custom field, then it will still have the memory of every single conversation that happened. And the really cool thing about the caller preferences field is that it connects into CloseBot. So when CloseBot is, or if whatever you're using, point-wise CloseBot, whatever, I prefer CloseBot. So when that's going on, CloseBot is also able to read from that same field. So when it's having a conversation with the lead, and it's got all the texting back and forth, it actually knows what's said on the call as well, and it just keeps it all congruent. The last thing you want is the AI saying something and then CloseBot trying to start a fresh conversation with the lead, and it thinks that it has no memory of the conversation. It just pisses leads off, and they just don't like it. So now we've got AI callers versus human callers. Who actually has a human team here, like calling leads? Most you guys, yeah, perfect, good, fucking love that. So with that, when you first start hiring your human setters will never perform as well as your clients on the phone, right? Your clients can build rapport better, then from the location, they can talk about what they do, they can get into the pain better, they'll get better show rates, everything's better when it comes to the clients. So when you've got setters, they can still outperform your clients. The reason why is because even though they might not actually be better on the call, they're taking more swings, right? They're actually they're phoning faster, the speed speed's way better, they're actually phoning twice a day, every day. They're not basically being bitches like your clients. You know, a lot of your clients, oh, I can't phone all that shit, right? They're just doing way better at that. And so it's the same thing for AI voice. So the way the clients are better than the setters are also better than the AI voice. But it also drops down one extra one again. So the AI voice, they phone faster, they phone more often, they phone out of hours. So even if your setters are better than the AI voice, which they will be, or they should be, it doesn't affect the performance because the AI voice is taking more swings, they're taking more shots to target, and they're just faster at everything. So it moves the same way through. And obviously AI voice comes with obvious advantages, right? 24/7 calling, no sick data, have to manage them, all that kind of stuff's really, really good. But the one big thing I found with the AI voice is the ability to split test scripts properly. With a human team, you can't really, even with your clients, you can't really split test scripts because when they're on the phone and they're saying things and things come up and you're telling them, hey, for this lead, I want you to phone, with this lead, I want you to use this script, and with this lead, use this script. They get confused, and you might want two different setters using different scripts to counter that. Then you have another issue where one setter might just sound better, they might just have more energy on the call, they might be smiling more, literally. And so, when you have actual AI voice, you can tell it exactly what you want it to say, when you want it to say it, and you can really clearly define what's a good script, what's a bad script, and really split test the best way possible. So now, with the actual integration of your human team with your AI voice. So if you already have a human team working well, do not get rid of them. AI voice is not gonna solve every problem in your call center, don't do that. But the best use case I've seen so far is backup speed to lead. So if your humans are, I say humans, sounds so weird, but if your setters are, let's say, inundated with tons of new leads and their speed to lead starts to get to 5 minutes, which it shouldn't ever be more than 5 minutes, or even more than 60 seconds really, then what you can do is you can have a workflow in there which says, okay, if a lead isn't phoned within 5 minutes, the AI voice kicks in. So it's just like a backup. It works like a fallback essentially. Database reactivation, obviously I already spoke about that, which is really powerful. You can literally upload your lead list, get the AI voice to go through them, provide it's compliant, and then you can just sweep appointments immediately. It worked very, very well for that. Live transfers, so a lot of people say, hey, deposits. AI voice can't take deposits, which I fully agree. It's very bad. If you try and read a card number over the phone, first of all, I'm not sure on the legality of that. Also, the AI voice kind of screws up when you're trying to tell it card details or email addresses, that kind of stuff. So what we do is we have the AI voice reach out to them first, we qualify them, and then we live transfer them to the human team. So essentially, all you're doing is your human team can just sit there, rather than having to listen to dial tones, they just sit there on Hot Prospect or whatever you're using, and they just receive inbound calls. And they know that every lead that's coming through has already been pre-qualified, and they've just got to get a deposit, just got to close them, build a bit of rapport, that kind of stuff. Or you should use it for the power dialer only. So if your human team are phoning all the new leads, but maybe it gets day 3 and the power dialer is getting overrun, again, you can use AI voice to pick up the slack and go for your power dialer, which is really nice. Or it's just a combination of all of these, right? With the AI voice, you can literally do any kind of combination you want. You can do the speed to lead thing, then you can do the power dialer, then you can do database reactivation. Doing it any kind of way you want, it works really, really well. But these are the best ones that I've found so far. And then finally, the future of AI voice. So we can all agree that at some point very soon, AI voice is going to become indistinguishable to human setters. It's going to sound better than pretty much any human setter. I don't know whether that's going to be 6 months, a year, 10 years, I'm not sure. But at some point it will get there. There's already rules in place or potential laws in place in the US, which is you have to declare its AI voice as soon as they answer the phone, right? When that happens, and it'll probably be very soon, it's essentially going to be like receiving a handwritten letter versus an email, right? So imagine if you received a handwritten letter from some company, you'd be like, oh wow, you'd be impressed. You'd be like, this is really cool. Like this guy wrote a handwritten note to me, you feel very cared for, it looked really good. When you get an email, you're like, oh, another cold email, don't give a shit about this. And so when you've got the human versus AI, and all AI has to declare it's AI when it first starts, a lot of the people will start being like, hey, are you AI? And they'll be like, no, I'm actually a real human. It's like, oh wow. And they're gonna get that same factor about the handwritten note or the handwritten letter. They're gonna be like, oh, this company's actually using real humans to call me? They must really care. So I don't think humans are ever gonna disappear, but I just think it's more of the backup process, which is working really, really well. Any questions? I kind of sped through that very quickly. I apologize. Hopefully it made sense to everyone.
Do you call leads late, like around, I don't know, 10 p.m.?
Yeah.
AI?
Yeah.
Or
So it's really good for like after hours when your human team aren't around.
Yeah.
Again, I'm actually not sure of the legality of that. Every state has rules on when you can and can't call people, so you need to check that. But yeah, for us, if a lead comes in at 10 p.m., whatever else. However, that's just speed to lead only. I wouldn't be phoning up like power dialers that late or anything like that because you could end up waking people up, pissing people off. But with speed to lead, we know that the person's on their phone. They just submit their opt-in. And so if you phone them, if you double dial them, then in my opinion, you're not going to piss them off. It should be fine.
Okay. Have you experimented putting phone numbers directly on the Facebook leads? I think that's for like anyone who's ever tried it. Instead of like having lead forms, you just have phone numbers, something like emergency, call us 24/7, we're gonna give you a quote, whatever.
Yeah, so
have you experimented with that?
I haven't experimented with that, but the inbound calling thing, we've got a client right now that's doing like emergency plumber repairs on Google, and they get a lot of inbound calls. For Facebook, the answer is no, I've never experimented with that. With Google, I have.
So just in regards to that, like how difficult is it to navigate those conversations about, quotes? Let's say they're calling, they're like, I want to get a quote for a roof. How good is it right now?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It can qualify them. It can ask them obviously how old's your roof, when was the last maintained, all that kind of stuff. In terms of like giving them an actual quote, obviously it's just an objection which we can handle. It's like, look, we need to get the guy to come out. We need to get him to actually look at your roof before he can give you a quote. I don't want to give you a random quote on the phone which isn't accurate.
Okay. And it does the live transfer, I'm assuming.
Or it can do a live transfer. So this is the other really cool thing that some of our clients, they haven't actually got any human callers. What they do is we build that AI voice out for them, and then we just live transfer it to the actual plumber or the roofer or whoever it is. And then so all they're doing is receiving these qualified leads coming straight to their phone. It's working pretty well for that.
And what's the cost on just all these automations? If you set them up, all those things on, let's say, monthly basis, you got, 20, 30 clients being called.
Yeah, at the moment we see on average, it's about $1.8 per lead that we call. We crunched the numbers the other day. Yeah. It's actually, so...
$1.8 per call?
No. $1.8 per... So if we take all the leads and all the conversations we had, all the know everything that comes through with it, we found that we're spending $1.8 per lead. And so, hopefully Sam doesn't mind me saying this, but we actually, when we crunched all of his numbers with that AI voice, we found that it was about $20 cost per appointment for database reactivation. So the really cool thing about that is, let's say you're usually used to spending $30 for an appointment, $40 for an appointment for one of your clients for Facebook ads. If you can cut that in half by getting to $20 just by doing a database reactivation, then it's like, first of all, it's way quicker than having to set the ad account up, and you can just get appointments straight away. And you can even do like rebilling as well. So like with Thing, you can rebill all the minutes back to them. So it doesn't cost you a thing, it just costs them the $20 per appointment, which is obviously way better than Facebook. And if you can show your clients that as well, that's obviously really powerful.
Which niches have you seen like really crush with this?
There isn't a one specific niche, because what you got to think about is all B2C, right? Every one of your niche, well, most of your niches will be B2C, whether it's, and when I say B2C, I mean it's in, you're working with a roofer that works B2C, right? Yeah. And so people are all the same regardless. They all have the same issues. They all have the same kind of, they pick up on the same AI voice. Like, it's not like there's one particular niche which is really amazing. Like, it's all B2C. So there isn't one niche that's about. For us, gyms have been going really well just because of the fact that I've got a lot of experience in the gym niche, that's works well. But at the same time, like, we've got people doing med spa, we've got one guy doing anime tattoos. Everyone knows Ramsey, people know this guy. You know Ramsey, yeah, of course. So he's doing anime tattoos, and he's absolutely crushing with it. What we're doing for him in particular is, because we can't do deposits, the AI voice has a whole conversation, builds all the pain, does all that kind of stuff. We then say, great, we're going to send you a link now to make to secure your tattoo. Pay it on the link, blah, 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 and then we hang up the call. And then Closebot connects in, sends the link, and then any questions they've got, Closebot handles, and we're getting a shit ton of deposits like that, which is really cool.
I think I have one last question. It was the recording from earlier. Was it 6 months ago, or was it like recent?
That was December the 5th, actually. I remember seeing the date, December the 5th, that was.
Okay.
So about 2 months ago, yeah.
What up, Aaron? 2 questions. One, did you compare your booking rate for your humans versus your AI?
The problem with that is that we're doing it for our clients. So the problem with that is we're doing it for our clients. And so our clients' booking rates, I don't see. If that makes sense. I see the booking rate of our AI agents, okay, but we don't see the booking rate of our client's human team. So it's hard for me to compare. Does that make sense?
I see. So I'll ask it like this. What is your lead to booking, would you say? Average?
Average, again, it depends if you're looking at database rep. Because we have...
New leads, lead to booking, I would say.
We'd be looking... it's hard, I'd have to look it up probably, but I'll probably have about 30%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know from your clients... Because I know you don't know the booking rate of their human team.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Do you know how it is compared to the human team?
No, because I don't know what they're... I would love, because the problem with it as well is that I might have, like, for example, I might have the data from when I was doing it for gym launch, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But then my callers aren't the same as their callers, and the lead quality isn't the same. And so, unless it's the same agency, it's really hard for me to give like a clear comparison. I'm going to build that out inside of our reporting section, inside the Team Follow AI software. We're going to break it down into like different campaign type as well, so we can differentiate between database reactivation, new leads. And what I want to do is also feed our clients' human data. We're going to take care of all of them for them, feed it into our software, so we can start doing that. But right now, we haven't got that.
Okay. I appreciate it. A few last ones.
Cool, man.
Let's say I do it, whether I do it with you or anyway.
Yeah.
After like I have the initial setup, how much iteration would you say it's needed from the moment like you have it live? Let's say like I do it with you. Yeah. How much iteration does it need from the moment like it's set up? Like do you have to listen to calls for many hours every day?
No.
And like change all of it and like set up everything? Or?
No, so it's all done for you. So we literally have an onboarding call with you, and honestly, like within 24 hours, the first agent's live. We've got a whole, we've got a really in-depth, like efficient process for this now. Mm-hmm. And then we have people actually listening to your calls actively and then giving the feedback back to our developers, and we just keep doing that over and over. Obviously, if you have your own feedback, then great, we'll take that on board as well. But we have the whole point is that it's fully hands-off. We want it to be so you can just send us projects and then we sort that out for you.
And what are the main use cases your clients do it for? Is it like they keep the human team and then like if somebody's not called within like 15 minutes, then they call them, or like for like second, third, fourth, fifth calls? And then also for incoming calls or no?
Yeah, incoming calls as well. So that's the call with that caller preferences box we put in there. If we're making calls and then we get an inbound call back, it remembers the conversations, which is really good. Mm-hmm. In terms of the use cases, so it's mostly database reactivation right now, to be honest with you, because pretty much everyone we brought on is in call center mastery, so they already have the human team building. And so we're doing a lot of database reactivation. But for example, in Ramsey's situation, he's just stopped hiring more callers. So he's at like 100 and I don't know what he's at now, probably like 100K a month now. And he's only got like 3 or 4 callers. He hasn't got many callers at all. don't quote me on that. I think he was at 100. He was at like 1 when he first, like as in like 1K when he joined CCM, and then he just locked in. He went really good, and so now he's at about that. But he's only got like 3 callers, and so we're handling a lot of the power dialing for him, database reactivation, but he still has his callers doing the speed to speed.
I see. I appreciate it. Last question. Haven't you found issues like, let's say like you do take deposits, like you have like the AI talk to somebody for 10 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, let me connect you to a human, or let me connect to somebody, takes your card information over the phone. How do you do the live transfer with that?
Sorry, so one more time say that?
Don't you find too much friction that if the AI talks to a lead for a few minutes, and then it has to do a live transfer just to collect the card information?
But it wouldn't be just collecting the card. We don't frame it like that. We frame it as in, oh, we've actually got one of our specialists.
Booking specialists.
Yeah, whatever it is. And then when they jump on the call, it's not just like, oh, hey, John. Yeah, what's the card details? It's not like that.
Okay.
It's like, hey, John, I just heard you speak to blah, blah. And then the AI voice will also do a summary. So before it live transfers, it'll do a really quick summary to the agent, just so they're aware. And like, oh yeah, they just told me that you were doing this. They rebuild the pain, they build a bit more connection, then they go for the deposit.
Okay.
If you just go straight for the deposit, you're gonna have friction.
Okay, I appreciate it. And you said you use NAD, like, or do you use like a specific like calling software? Also?
No, in terms of the actual technical of how it runs, I've got my CTO who does all that, so I don't want to dive too deep into that. But I know it's NAN. It uses like Claude and ChatGPT and some other plugins. And the problem with a lot of these softwares is that you can't customize it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you guys tested the AI, like we can put like keyboard clicking sounds and like just there's tons of things you want to be able to customize, which you can't always do with these other platforms. So we just decided to build it out ourselves.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man. Another question. These are great questions, by the way. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for engaging. I know it's can be tiring to listen to talks today.
2 questions. The first one has 2 parts. So I'm just curious if you've seen any difference between like gender of the AI caller, if there's any.
No, we haven't tested that, but I have seen it with the human team, and it's like female. It's always used female. For my particular ads, I use my own voice because they see me in the ad. They hear my voice, and then they get an AI from, and I say it's like AI Aaron, blah, blah, and then they're like, oh, wow, because the really cool thing is when you can put your voice in it and it sounds really good, it immediately they're like, wow, this guy, like I just heard his voice, it actually sounds like him, it really wows them. But if you're just using a generic voice, I would use females. That recording I showed you was a guy. There's a reason for that, I can't remember the reason now. But we actually, the client wanted a British accent, so he feels like a British accent sounds better than the Americans or whatever. But yeah, there's no clear date. I haven't tested that. I think it's a cool idea, I should test that.
Okay, cool. And the second part of that was like, do you have the option to change the AI voice based on who picks up? So if it's a male picks up the phone,
how would you? Yeah, we could do that. Because we'd have to look at the name. That would be one of the pre-call actions, right? Look at the name, and we'd have to assume what gender it is. I like that idea.
And then if the answer it calls John, but like a female answers, it could like swap into.
Yeah.
Just
no, that's a pretty cool idea because that's the thing. People like to buy from people like them, right? Yeah. So that'd be really cool. The only thing is like, women like talking to women, men like talking to women. Not everyone likes talking to men.
Nice.
So it's just like the default I'd always like to use as a woman, but I think that's a cool idea. I like that.
Yeah, I'd be curious in like statistics.
Yeah, we definitely could do that. We just haven't done it yet.
The second question was just language, like outside of English, does this work?
Yeah.
Spanish,
French?
Yeah. Just
the only downside for it is that if you've got an American accent and then you want to speak Spanish, sometimes it can sound a little bit weird the way it pronounces things. But if you speak the language, then we can you can work with us on that, and because obviously we don't speak Spanish or anything like that.
Sure.
But yeah, you can do any language. In fact, there was one call from a client where they were speaking English, but then because of the background noise, someone was speaking Turkish, and then the AI voice was like, "Oh, like, would you rather me speak Turkish?" And the woman was like, "Yeah, okay," and just started speaking Turkish to her. And she was like, "Wow!" Like, obviously she knew it was AI at that point, but like,
yeah,
things like that really do impress people. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
So there you go, that's the playbook. AI voice isn't here to replace your human team. It can do that, like if you wanted to just use AI voice, it is capable, but really what it's here to do is back them up with speed to lead when your setters are overworked and slammed, database reactivation to get your clients results on day one, and live transfers so your closers are only talking to pre-qualified leads. The technology is only getting better, and the agencies that figure this out now are the ones that are gonna have a massive advantage when AI voice becomes completely indistinguishable from a real person. If you're thinking about adding AI voice to your agency or your call center, drop a comment below and tell me what you're struggling with. I read every single one. I'll reply to every single one. I want to make sure you guys get all the help you need. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button because I've got a lot more coming out on the AI voice topic, and I'll see you on the next one.